Hello gamers, this is Yhoko speaking, and today I'm going to show you how crafting is done in Endyr. But first let me put on some clothes, as this is a brand new character created in the last tutorial. So this is tutorial, the beginner's village, where new players start out and are prepared for the real game. And you can see NPCs standing around here, giving you little quests and explaining you how things are done. This is just an introduction, and actually this map is instanced for each player individually, and therefore you won't meet any other players here. But of course this all happens only to prepare you for the real massive multiplayer world of Endyr. So let's start the crafting now. First we need to gather some resources, and this tree will probably leave us a branch we can break down with our bare hands, which is important because we have no tools at all yet. And that's the reason why a single click on the tree already breaks down the branch, and another click on the branch collects it into your inventory. Now if you notice the hand slots on the right side, you'll see they are recharging even when collecting another item. So each action in Endyr needs some time, makes your hand busy, and since one hand is always the leading hand and the other is just supporting, one is recharged faster than the other. Alright, now that we got some branches, let me just skip up to the mine where I already collected some slate stones, which are also necessary to create some improvised knives, axes and pickaxes. After simply putting all the resources necessary into the crafting window, the selection lets you choose what to actually craft. I'll choose this axe for now, and as you can see you may walk around during the crafting, although I'm not sure if this will make it into the final game. But as long as it's possible, why not continue crafting a knife while we walk back to the tree, and maybe a pickaxe for later use in the mine. Alright, now that we got everything, let's just equip the axe to my main hand. I'm actually left-handed, and start hitting the tree. Just like before, after each hit your hands need to recharge, but because the axe is actually a two-handed item, both hands are given the same delay this time. After a couple of hits, depending on your axe's strength of course, the tree finally breaks down into a trunk, and to cut the trunk in half you just continue hitting until the wood drops out. Luckily in this video I was able to get 3 pieces of wood out of the trunk using my improvised axe, but don't be sad if it's only 1 or 2 or maybe none, as you need a real iron axe, or better a saw, to properly cut that trunk in half. Now using the new wood as a resource won't give you any options at all, because you need at least something like a knife to create something out of the wood. And here you go. Our 2 options are sawings and a wooden sword, and of course I want to make a wooden sword. So while the crafting is in progress, let's just walk back to the mine and get us the one and only resource named iron. Here we are. Let me just equip that wooden sword to make me look like a badass warrior, or maybe just fool around with the context menus introduced in the latest update. But now just let's continue to court the man. He's the local miner, and he can not only teach us how the mining is done, but also give us torches and bombs of course. Now that I've got everything, let's just equip the torch and bombs and start blasting the walls. Please keep in mind that bombs need no single target and therefore can be shot just anywhere on the screen by clicking a certain spot in reach of your character's throwing distance. Now if you looked carefully, you noticed that the map is actually deformed by the bomb explosions. This is called a load, and while the area is actually limited in size, you may restore it anytime by detonating a large bomb and making the mine collapse. Alright, now that the rocks are laid free, we may equip our pickaxe, and as you can see, now the rocks are highlighted in blue. Now while this is looking similar to cutting down a tree, after just a few hits you already see some piece of ore floating around there and waiting to be collected afterwards. It really is more efficient to first cut down the rock and then collect all the ore, But of course, if another player was here, he could just take the ore as it's floating around for everyone. Now let me just skip the other rocks. Here we go. Getting back out of the mine, all you want to do is melting your freshly collected 8 pieces of ore, and of course you need an oven to do so. Now putting in the 8 pieces of ore will show an output of 2 iron ingots, where only 6 pieces of the 8 are really necessary. To show you this, I'll split up the stack, and as you can see now, it's always 3 pieces of ore per ingot. This is true for most ingots, by the way. Let's fast forward the melting for now. Great. Now that the iron is ready, we may put it back into the oven to melt something out of it. For example, these iron coins or a mortar. And at this point I closed the first introduction into crafting in Endyr. This showed you most of the things possible. If you get some more iron, like I do in the background, you may actually craft a forge hammer out of it, and this is the base for a whole bunch of new items, like a real axe, real knife, and a real sword, of course, and everything else you've probably already seen in the screenshots. Now please subscribe to this channel, and if you need more information, visit endyr.com, where you may also subscribe to a newsletter letting you know when the next release or a beta test starts. This was Yhoko for you, and please survive safe.